Hello, student. Welcome to all of you Shiksha 360 JAP classes. And today, basically, we have to discuss chapter number 19 AFP, that is financial management and overview. Clear? This is the part one. And I request to all of you kindly try to understand all the basic points. Clear? On the basis of that, we have to discuss 15 to 20 questions, which I will provide you in your group. Kindly try to understand all these points. Directly, you will find that similar type of questions in your examinations also. So let's start our discussion. So let's start. So to carry out the business activity, clear, to carry out the business activity of any organization, funds play an important role here. When the business is to be started, the owners bring fund in the form of the capital. Clear, like basically when you are going to start any business. So at that time, basically what is happening, that is the owners basically bring funds in the form of the capital here. So normally any business organization cannot work satisfactorily just depending on the funds bought in by the owners or the promoters. So basically what they have to do, they have to raise the funds from the market. So it has to raise the further funds in the form of the further issue of capital and borrowings. So the funds are needed. Clear? So here what will happen? The funds are needed basically for creating the fixed assets as well as basically for the working capital. Clear? Basically for what the funds are created? The funds are to be created basically for creating the fixed assets as well as for the working capital. How these funds are used most efficiently, it is also important. Clear? Like basically funds are needed basically for what? Basically for creating the fixed assets as well as for the working capital. So basically how basically you are using these funds. Clear? So how these funds are used most efficiently, it is also to be important. Clear? So the financial activities of a business organization mainly relate to its assets, liabilities, and the revenues. Clear? So the financial activities of a business organization mainly relate to basically what? That is assets, what they are, liabilities, and revenues. So you have to remember this point, that is in the examination, sometimes they will ask the financial activities of a business organization basically mainly relate to what? Clear? So it is mainly relate to the assets, liabilities, and the revenues. Clear? It mainly relates to the assets, liabilities, and the revenues. Now further, so planning, organizing, conducting, and controlling all these financial activities of the organization, it is a function of financial management. What is that? Planning, organizing, conducting, controlling. All these things you have to cover in the ABFM. That is in the CAB also in detail. Clear? Later on, after clearing the job, you will also cover these same things in the CAB also. Okay, so the planning, organizing, conducting, and controlling all these financial activities of the organization, it is the function of the financial management. Clear? That is the function of the financial management here. Now, next one. So, what are the forms of the business organization? So, a business organization basically may have any one of the following forms. So, either it is to be the sole proprietary, second one, that is the partnership form. Clear? So, a business organization basically may have any of the following forms. First one, that is the sole proprietary. Second one, that is the partnership form. Third one, that is the limited liability partnership. Fourth one, that is the HUF, that is Hindu Undivided Family. Fifth one, that is the AOP, that is the Association of Persons, or BOI, that is Body of Individuals. Sixth one, that is the company. And seventh one, that is the cooperative society. Just on the basis of that, we have to cover 25 to 30 questions. What are the different types of questions you will expect in the examination? From these points, all we have to be covered one by one. Sole proprietary, partnership firm, limited liability partnership, Hindu unwedded family, association of person or body of individuals, company and cooperative society. Clear? All these questions I will provide you in your group. Just you have to understand the theory here. So now let's discuss further regarding that. First one here, that is the sole proprietor. Clear? That is like, we can say that like the proprietorship firm. So a sole proprietary, basically it is a type of firm. Clear? A sole proprietary, basically it is a type of firm owned and run by one person, and in which there is no legal distinction between the owner and the firm. Clear? So kindly remember that what is sole proprietary. Basically, sole proprietary, basically it is a type of firm that is owned and run by one person, and in which there is no legal distinction basically between the owner and the firm. So here the business owner, basically it is referred to as the sole proprietor. Clear? So here what will happen, that is the business owner, basically it is referred to as the sole proprietor. That is basically single authorized signatory in that. Okay, single authorized signatory, it is to be available here. Next one further. That single authorized signatory or that proprietorship exclusively basically owns all the assets and profits of the business. The profit of the firm basically it is taxed as the personal income of the proprietor. Clear? And that profit basically of the firm basically it is taxed as the personal income of the proprietor. Kindly remember that. The profit of the firm basically it is taxed as the personal income of the proprietor. This will be very important question in the examination. Basically, you will find that. Now move to the next one. So the advantage of such a firm, clear, the advantage of such a firm is that it is subject to minimum regulations. It is the simplest form of a business organization, but it faces the limitation of capital as the sources of the proprietor are to be limited. Clear? That is basically, as the capital basically it belongs only from the one person. That is the thing they are saying here. That is the sources, that it faces limitation of capital as the sources of the proprietor are to be limited here. Next one, partnership firm. So partnership firms basically in India are governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Okay, first question, that is partnership basically in India, basically it is governed by which act? First one, that is the Indian Partnership Act 1932. As per the section 4 of the Indian Partnership Act, partnership, what is that? It is the relationship between the persons who have agreed to share the profits. Clear? So what is the meaning of the partnership firm here? That is partnership, basically it is the relationship between the persons who have agreed to share the profits of a business carried on by all or any one of them. Clear? That business basically it is carried on by all or any one of them basically acting for all. So from this definition, the following points are to be clear. Clear? So what are the following points which we have to understand? That is, it is an association of two or more persons. Clear? So what is a partnership basically? That is, there are partners. Either there are two partners, three partners. Clear? So it is an association of two or more persons. Second one, there is an agreement or contract between the persons. Clear? First one, that is, it is an association of two or more persons. Second one, that is basically there will be an agreement between there is an agreement or contract basically between the persons to be here. Third one, the agreement basically it is for what? The agreement basically it is to carry on a business with the objective of sharing profits. Clear? So what is the motive of the agreement? That is basically, the agreement basically it is for what? The agreement basically it is to carry on a business with the objective of sharing profits. Clear? Basically with the objective of sharing profits. Fourth one, that business, clear, the business it is to be carried on by all or any one of them basically acting for all. Clear? So that business, basically the business it is to be carried on by all or any one of them basically acting for all. Now further, this is the partnership, that is, it is governed by the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Now move to the next one further. So the persons involved, clear. Next one, that is the persons involved in the agreement are called to be as the partners. Clear. So what are that persons are to be involved under that? The persons involved in the agreement are to be called as the partners, and the entity created for the business basically it is to be called as the partnership firm. Clear. And that specific entry basically created for the business, that is to be called as the partnership firm. Next one, the liability of the each partner, it is unlimited, unlike a limited liability company. Clear. Very, very important. The liability of each partner basically in the partnership firm, it is to be unlimited here, unlike a limited liability company. Next one, the Indian Partnership Act does not mention anything about the number of partners in a partnership firm. But as per the Companies Act 2013 and the Company Rules 2014, a partnership basically can have a maximum of 50%. Clear. So the Indian Partnership Act basically does not mention anything about the maximum number of partners in a partnership firm. But as per the Companies Act 2013 and the Companies Rule 2014, a partnership basically can have a maximum of 50%. Clear. So what are the maximum number of partners basically in the partnership firm? That is to be maximum of 50% to be here. Further, that is a company can also be a partner in a partnership firm. Clear. That is a company can also be a partner in a partnership firm. So the partnership firm basically may be registered, but it is not mandatory. Clear. Very, very important point, that is a company can also be a partner in a partnership firm. Further, that is a partnership firm may be registered, but it is not to be mandatory here. A partnership has no separate legal status basically apart from its partners. Clear. As we can say that basically like a company has a separate legal status, but here the partnership basically has no separate legal status apart from its partners. Clear. So basically if any happening, it is to be done by any partner. So the complete partnership firm basically it is to be responsible for that. Clear. So that the complete partnership firm it is to be responsible for their work, what they have to be done here. Okay, so that is regarding the basic information we have covered till now, that is regarding the sole proprietary partnership firm. Next, third one basically which we have to cover here, that is the limited liability partnership. Clear. Third one, that is the limited liability partnership. Like in the partnership firm we have studied, the liability of the partner is to be unlimited here. But in the case of the limited liability partnership, the liability of the partner it is to be limited here. So it is a newly established concept basically introduced in India by the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. So when this was introduced in India basically in the year 2008. A limited liability partnership basically it is a partnership in which some or all of the partners have to be limited liabilities. So it is therefore has elements of the partnerships as well as the limited liability companies. Registration of a limited liability partnership, it is to be done with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Very, very important point for the examination of point regarding the registration. That is the registration of a limited liability partnership. Basically, it is to be done with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Ministry of Corporate Affairs. On the other side, a registration of a partnership firm, it is to be done with the registrar of firms. Clear. It is to be done with the registrar of firms. Very, very important point for the examination point of view. That is in the case of the limited liability partnership, a registration basically it is to be done with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. On the other side, in the case of the partnership firm, basically registration it is to be done with the registrar of firms here. Now further, an LLP, that is limited liability partnership. Basically, it is a legal entity, unlike a partnership firm, which has no separate legal status apart from its partners. Clear. So, and limited liability partnership, basically, it is a legal entity, unlike a partnership firm. Clear. Partnership firm, basically, it becomes a legal entity only when it has done its a registration. Clear? Otherwise, it will not be a legal entity. Clear? So an LLP basically it is a legal entity, unlike a partnership firm, which has no separate legal status basically apart from its partners. So in LLP, basically one partner it is not liable basically for the acts of the another partner. Clear? Like in the partnership firm, one partner basically it is liable for the acts of the another person, but in the case of the limited liability partnership, one person basically it is not liable basically for the acts of the other. Kindly remember these points. It is a short slide but contains very important points regarding all these things. Now next 2 points which we have to cover. First one, that is the Hindu undivided family. Next one, that is the association of persons or the body of individuals. Hindu undivided family. HUF basically it is a form of the business organization existing only in India, and it is governed by the provisions of the Hindu law. Clear? So HUF, what is that? It is the form of the business organization that is existing basically only in India. Further, and it is governed. Clear? Basically, further, basically it is governed by the provisions of the Hindu law. It is different from a partnership firm. Clear? As it comes into existence not out of any contract but birth in a Hindu family. Clear? Basically, but birth in a Hindu family. Okay, so kindly remember that basically it is different from a partnership firm as it comes into existence not out of any contract but birth in a Hindu family. So one question from my side to all of you, basically HUF, it is account only for the Hindu family or for any other religion also? Please tell fast. Clear? As it mentions the word Hindu here. Clear? So it is basically only for the Hindu family or for any other? This one will be the important question for all of you. Now move to the next point. The firm basically Hindu HUF, basically the firm basically it is owned by the members of the undivided Hindu family. The firm basically it is owned by the members of the undivided Hindu family HUF, and all these members are to be called as the co-parsoners. Co-parsoners. And the business of an HUF basically it is typically managed by the senior most male member, that also known as the Karta or the manager. Clear? So the business of an HUF basically it is typically managed by the senior most male member. That senior most male member basically it is known as the Karta or the manager. So for the sake of the income tax, clear why? Basically this account is to be opened basically for the income tax. Clear? Basically for the sake of the income tax, the HUF basically it is considered as a separate entity and it is to be taxed separately. Clear? The HUF basically it is to be considered as a separate entity basically and it is to be taxed separately. Clear? Many different types of question you will find from these topics, and you have to be answer all these questions which I will provide you in your group after the session. Clear? Now the next point, association of persons or the body of individuals. So association of person basically what means that basically it is a means of group of persons, whether incorporated or not, who come together basically for achieving a common objective. Clear? That is basically we can say that incorporated, we can say that whether they are registered or not, that association basically whether it is to be registered or not, there is nothing anything regarding that, but who come together basically for achieving what? Basically for achieving a common objective. For achieving that common objective basically all are to be come together here. So the members of the association of persons can be natural or the artificial persons. On the other side, so from my side, this is question: what is the meaning of the this thing that is the members of the association of persons basically can be natural or artificial? What is the meaning of that? You have to tell me. Next one. Body of individual basically means a group of individuals. It is basically natural persons. Clear? Association basically it is will be artificial or natural. But in the case of body of individual, basically it means a group of individual that is natural persons, whether incorporated or not, who joined together basically for earning income. Clear? Who joined together basically for what? For the earning income. both association of persons and body of individuals are treated as a separate entity basically for the purpose of assessment under the Income Tax Act. Clear? Both the association of persons and the body of individuals. Kindly remember that basically both the association of persons and the body of individuals basically are to be treated as a separate entity. Basically for what? Basically for the purpose of assessment under the Income Tax Act. Clear? Basically for the purpose of assessment under the Income Tax Act. Clear? So kindly remember all these points, and there are some other points which I will cover in the next session. With all of you clear, all these points I will cover in the next session, and kindly I will post the questions also. Clear? This is just a short discussion. Rest basically we will upload in the group. So thanks to all of you for joining this basic discussion, and now you have to do the practice the basic questions regarding all these things.